Now on Denver 7 News at 5 a.m., time is running out for the Department of Justice to decide what we can see and what's above our security clearance in the affidavit to raid the former president's Mar-a-Lago home.
Jefferson County families at 16 schools could see their child's campus closed. The next steps for consolidation because of declining enrollment in the district.
A David and Goliath battle between Denver business owners and city leaders. The fight to let food trucks stay open downtown this weekend.
Just excited to see and to feel that rocket blast off and, know my fingerprints are going to deep space.
Yeah, an historic space mission preparing for liftoff, the first step to putting Americans back on the moon for the first time in 50 years. Wow. A ton of local ties and the largest rocket ever built. It's amazing. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Thanks for joining us. Happy Friday to you. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. Lisa, looking at the ground level here this morning, looks like we have a little more rain moving in. It was kind of nice to get it yesterday.
It was nice. After two pretty dry days, lots of sunshine, it was good to get a little more rain yesterday. We will continue to see some cloud cover here early this morning and some showers that are rolling in across the southwestern corner of the state early on. As far as timing goes with storms for us, we're likely going to see it by early afternoon. It's also going to be right around 12 to 1 o'clock when on your out the door forecast, we'll get into the low to mid 80s. That'll be it for highs. Things will then cool off more later this afternoon, but Denver's going to be right around 80 to about 85, mid to upper 80s near Fort Collins and Greeley, more 70s to even upper 60s for the foothills this afternoon. And it'll be up and through the foothills. We're right around 11 to about 12 o'clock. You'll start to see some of that wet weather, which will then move east. So expect some scattered storms and showers today. We'll take a closer look at some areas of heavier rain, Jason, coming up here in just a few minutes.
And right now we have some water where water shouldn't be, or at least was last night there across parts of the east side of town. This right now is Alameda at I-225, and the interstate looks just fine. Northbound, southbound, that looks good. It's from Alameda going over towards Peoria. That's the problem. Let me show you in the map what we're talking about out here on the east side of town. From Potomac here, just off of I-225 on over to Peoria. Just on the westbound side, that is closed down. I talked to Denver Water this morning, and they say in about an hour they're going to get a better update of when they'll be able to open all lanes. Right now, all lanes are remaining closed down, and so you can use Mississippi, you can use 6th Avenue, easy to get around it, get over to Del Mar, and then come back that way if you're going to use that northern detour. But the rest of the drive to the Aurora commute looks just fine. Out here on I-70, looks good for now. Of course, we're going to have that closure. I'll have details on that for you coming up because it starts at 10 o'clock tonight, but the rest of the drive is okay right now.
Well, under judge's orders, the Department of Justice has about 5 hours left to make a redacted version of the affidavit used to support the FBI's raid on former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home and make that public.
Attorney and Denver 7 reporter Jessica Crawford is here now to break down the next steps in this. Jessica, they're trying to balance transparency with what also seems like an important investigation about state secrets.
And it is really a tough balance to strike. A lot of people are probably going to want more than they're going to get out of this. So people familiar with the investigation are saying the search was part of a probe into possible mishandling of White House records, even documents possibly related to nuclear weapons. That Trump denies. We could get a lot more clarity by 10 o'clock when that affidavit has to come out. And here's why people have been so anxious to see what it says. A search warrant is only issued after an affidavit is presented. The affidavit describes the place, the person, or the thing to be searched. It describes the property that is being searched for. It also establishes the reason why the warrant should be issued. All critical questions still 3 weeks after that raid at Mar-a-Lago. However, the Justice Department requested several redactions to protect the investigation and the people involved. So while we could learn a lot from the affidavit, chances are we won't.
It's an effort to strike a balance by the magistrate between, on one hand, the government's desire to keep its investigation intact and public's interest in knowing what this is all about. If all of that evidence is disclosed to the public, then the Department of Justice is very concerned that the investigation will be impeded.
And there have been concerns about this being political. Well, this week, President Biden addressed the search of Trump's home publicly for the first time, saying he had no advance knowledge about it. I'm Jessica Crawford, Denver 7.
All right, thank you, Jessica. We now know Jeffco Public Schools is looking to close 16 elementary schools, impacting nearly 2,500 students and more than 400 full-time staff. Here is the list that parents received yesterday. These are the schools expected to close. As you can see from the map here, they are spread across the large Jeffco district. Jeffco says it has lost more than 5,000 students just since 2019, creating a lack of resources and special programs limiting student growth.
This is not easy for any of us. I don't want to close any schools. I know our families and our staff don't want us to close any schools. But if we don't, we are not taking advantage of our opportunity to really resource our schools in a way that provides that high quality programming for students.
The decision-making process isn't quite over. The school board will vote on these recommendations on November 10th. If it passes, the closures will take effect in the next school year. Now, the district won't be naming preschool sites for closure until November, before the choice window opens December 6th. You can check out that full list of school closures again on our website, thedenverchannel.com. And numbers provided by the district show Jeffco's population has increased by nearly 5,600 people between 2000 and 2020. However, in that same 20-year period, the number of school-aged kids in the district decreased by nearly 30,000. Population in the county under the age of 5 has decreased the most, with 2020 marking the lowest number of births recorded in 15 years. Of course, these dwindling student numbers, the possibility of closing schools, this is certainly not limited to Jefferson County right now. Discussions happening all across the metro,
including right here in Denver. In January, Denver Public Schools formed a declining enrollment advisory committee to make recommendations about closing or consolidating campuses. The district has not set a timeline yet for when those decisions could be made, but officials have said in the past that any closures would not impact their schools until the 2024-25 school year. The current contract between Denver Public Schools and its teachers union expires next Wednesday, so both sides will be back for talks that day at 9 a.m. Officials say they will go until they reach an agreement. Teachers are asking for a starting salary of $55,000 a year, cost of living increases, and a stipend for serving on school committees.
The city of Denver changes its mind about allowing food trucks to operate late at night in Lodo. Leaders essentially banned the trucks following a police shooting last month that injured 6 innocent people. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us now live with this win for those small business owners. But what else are they saying, Veronica?
It's quite a win, right? Some of these spots here behind me, these metered spots, they have sat empty for about a month now since the city of Denver banned those food trucks from being in this part of the Lodo area. But these are small businesses that we're talking about. They really rely on some of this business, especially when bars like the one here behind me start getting out really early in the morning, 2 a.m. That's when people flock to these food trucks. Starting tonight, though, the good news is that some of these will be able to grab some of these spots again, really where these bagged red meters are. Denver is lifting its ban on food trucks here, but that does come with some strings attached. Between now, 5 a.m. and 9 tonight, those taco and pizza trucks that we've seen out here, they can come out and start selling again. That's no problem. It's after 9 that those rules start getting just a little bit restrictive. The city is giving 7 food trucks a license to operate between 9 p.m. and midnight. These new rules means that when these bars start letting out the food trucks, they won't be here, meaning they won't be able to get that business that on most nights they really rely on. Now, last week we spoke with the food truck owner who'd been set up in the area for about a decade. He told us he was optimistic about the lifting of the ban, but really the damage had already been done to his business.
It's like 80% what we do. Bills, we pay rent, we pay everything. You know, we pay. Sometimes you have like 1 or 2 employees, you pay them. So, you know, it's like I'm working for free.
So if food truck owners for some reason don't follow these rules, they could face some citations from the city. They could also get some sanctions on their licenses, which of course they don't want. We know these rules are in place for at least the next 4 months. We're in Denver this morning. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Well, whether you're one that's going to stuff your face this afternoon or get out for a run or a bike, here's a look at your exercise forecast. We are going to see a good chance for some scattered storms and showers here this afternoon, and it's going to get cooler. We'll see highs in the low to mid 80s, dropping back again into the mid 70s there by about 7 o'clock. So late day today, more showers. We'll take a closer look at when you could see some wet weather in your neighborhood coming up.
And right now, the drive overall looks pretty nice, including out here to the west side of town. This is I-70 over by Lakeside. You can see the paving is all done for us here this morning. Looks nice and smooth on the westbound side. Yeah, the eastbound side needs it as well, and they'll get it here over the next couple of months. Right now, overall, a pretty good-looking drive. We do have an issue out in Aurora with a water main break closing down a road. Details in just a minute.
You have a chance to meet Ryan Seacrest and maybe make it to the American Idol stage. The audition available to Coloradans today.
And ready for liftoff. It is the most consequential mission in decades. The role Colorado companies are playing in the mission to send Americans back to the moon. Still ahead.